Cowboys Nation, before we break down everything that happened in Week 17, let's start with the bigger picture. The Dallas Cowboys are clearly trying to sharpen every edge they can, improve in every possible area, and build habits that can translate into better results moving forward, even with the postseason out of reach. This stage of the season is about growth, evaluation, and mentality. And if you appreciate honest, in-depth Cowboys coverage like this, go ahead and hit that like button right now. It helps the channel a ton and tells me you want more conversations like this one. Now let's talk about a win that was far from comfortable but incredibly revealing. The Dallas Cowboys improved to 7-8-1 on the season with a 30-23 victory over the Washington Commanders in Week 17. On paper, it looks like a solid road win. In reality, it was a tense, gritty game that forced Dallas to dig deep and, more importantly, change how it approached winning. This was not a clean performance. It wasn't dominant, but it was aggressive, intentional, and in many ways, necessary. Dallas jumped out early, built a commanding lead, then watched Washington claw back into the game, forcing the Cowboys to respond with bold decisions that ultimately made the difference. Let's break down the biggest rapid reactions from a game that told us a lot about where this team is right now. The Cowboys couldn't have scripted a better opening. Dallas took the opening kickoff and marched 78 yards in 13 plays, setting the tone immediately. That drive included a key 4th-and-1 conversion at midfield, showing early that head coach Brian Schottenheimer wasn't interested in playing conservatively. Dak Prescott finished the drive by finding Jake Ferguson for a 6-yard touchdown, putting Dallas up 7-0. After a Washington field goal, the Cowboys went right back to work. Another long, methodical drive, 17 plays this time, ended with Javonte Williams powering in from 4 yards out to make it 14-3. Then came the play that felt like a knockout punch. Pinned deep at their own 3-yard line, facing 3rd and 11, Prescott dropped back and launched a perfect strike to Kevontae Tarpon, who split the defense and raced 86 yards for a touchdown. Just like that, it was 21-3, and it felt like Dallas was in complete control. But that feeling didn't last. To their credit, the Commanders didn't fold. Washington answered with a long drive capped by a 10-yard touchdown run from rookie Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, cutting the lead to 21-10. Dallas added a Brandon Aubrey field goal before halftime, taking a 24-10 lead into the break. Still, warning signs were already there. The Cowboys' defense struggled with angles, tackling, and discipline. Those issues became glaring in the second half. Early in the third quarter, Krosky-Merritt found a massive hole at right tackle and exploded for a 72-yard touchdown run, suddenly making it a one-score game at 24-17. And just like that, a game that should have been over turned into a fight. Even though Dallas got the win, it's impossible to ignore what happened defensively. The Commanders were starting Josh Johnson, a 39-year-old quarterback making just his 10th career NFL start and playing for his 14th team. Coming into the game, Johnson was 1-8 as a starter, yet the Cowboys allowed him to move the ball far more than they should have. Missed tackles, poor pursuit angles, soft coverage underneath, all of it allowed Washington to hang around far longer than a 4-win team should. This is where the criticism of defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus grows louder. Even with Eberflus calling the defense from the booth, the same problems persisted. The scheme didn't confuse anyone, the execution didn't improve, and against a limited offense, that's alarming. Dallas won, but the defense didn't inspire confidence. Now let's talk about the biggest positive of the night. Brian Schottenheimer coached aggressively, and it worked. The Cowboys struggled on third downs throughout the game. Instead of settling for punts or field goals, Schottenheimer repeatedly trusted his offense. Dallas went for it on 5 4th-down conversions. They converted all 5. Those decisions extended drives, added points, and, just as importantly, kept the defense off the field. That strategy directly led to one of the most telling stats of the night, time of possession. Dallas dominated the clock 38-44 to 21-16. That wasn't accidental, that was intentional, aggressive football. Without that approach, there's a real chance the Cowboys don't escape with this win. Quietly, Dak Prescott delivered another strong performance. Prescott finished 19 of 37 for 307 yards and 2 touchdowns, guiding an offense that moved the ball consistently and responded when Washington made things uncomfortable. Dallas rushed for 211 yards, including 103 yards from Malik Davis, who stepped up after Javonte Williams exited with a shoulder injury. With Javonte Williams once again limited, Davis and fullback Hunter Luepke carried the load, while rookie Jaden Blue remained inactive. Prescott didn't force the issue. He protected the ball. He delivered explosive plays when needed, and when the game tightened, he stayed composed. That matters, especially for a team trying to establish identity and momentum late in the season. Unfortunately, the Cowboys couldn't escape with more injury concerns. Javonte Williams left in the second quarter with an undisclosed injury after aggravating his shoulder issue. Jake Ferguson exited in the third quarter with a calf injury. These setbacks only reinforce how thin Dallas is at certain positions, especially with depth players being forced into larger roles. That makes evaluation over the final weeks even more critical. So what does this win really tell us? It shows that the Cowboys can be aggressive and effective offensively. It shows that Dak Prescott and this offense can control games when given the chance. It also shows that the defense remains a serious concern, even against limited opponents. Dallas did enough to win, but not enough to convince anyone that major changes aren't needed. As the Dallas Cowboys took the field on Christmas Day against the Washington Commanders in a game streamed on Netflix, the spotlight wasn't only on the players. Yes, the offense was rolling. Yes, the Cowboys jumped out to an early lead. But one of the most powerful moments of the broadcast came off the field when a franchise legend shared his belief in where this team is headed. Emmitt Smith believes in the future of the Dallas Cowboys. That statement alone carries weight. Coming from the NFL's all-time leading rusher, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, and arguably the most iconic player in Cowboys history, it resonates deeply with fans who have been searching for hope and direction. The Cowboys didn't waste time making a statement. Even though Dak Prescott's accuracy was shaky early, Dallas found rhythm quickly, especially on offense. The run game was effective, the play calling was aggressive, and the Cowboys built a 14-3 lead that immediately shifted momentum. It was during that stretch of the game that the Netflix broadcast brought in Emmitt Smith for an in-game conversation, and what he said surprised many fans. Despite Dallas entering the game with a 6-8-1 record, Smith didn't focus on the losses. Instead, he focused on direction. Smith made it clear. In his eyes, the Cowboys are finally moving in the right direction. That's significant, especially considering Smith's past criticism of the organization. He specifically praised head coach Brian Schottenheimer, highlighting how the first-year coach has handled himself under pressure. According to Smith, Schottenheimer has done something the Cowboys have struggled with in recent years, re-establishing the ground game. That physical identity, Smith believes, is foundational to long-term success. Smith also had strong praise for Dak Prescott, saying he's playing as well as any quarterback in the NFL right now. That's high praise from someone who's seen elite football up close for decades. But Smith didn't sugarcoat everything. Defense remains the key question. While optimistic, Emmitt Smith acknowledged an obvious concern. The defense has to get better. He pointed out that if the Cowboys can make the right adjustments this offseason, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, this team could become dangerous in 2026. That's the word he used, dangerous. Not competitive, not respectable, dangerous. And that speaks volumes about how Smith views the offensive foundation currently in place. What makes this moment even more interesting is how different it is from Emmitt Smith's initial reaction to Brian Schottenheimer's hiring. When Jerry Jones announced Schottenheimer as head coach, the move wasn't popular. Many fans questioned it, analysts criticized it, and Emmitt Smith was one of the loudest skeptics. During an appearance on ESPN radio at the time, Smith was blunt. He initially brushed off the topic with a next subject, then admitted the hire doesn't feel good. He said, "I have no reaction. I just don't know what to say. I know we have to give the man a chance, and I'm willing to give him a chance, an opportunity to turn things around. However, if we don't align our vision and commitment to that vision, I think we're going to get a lot of things that we've seen in the past, and that doesn't feel good." Those words reflected the frustration of a fan base that's heard promises before. Fast forward to Christmas Day, and the tone has clearly changed. Smith was right about one thing from the start. Schottenheimer deserved a chance. And to his credit, the Cowboys head coach has done a solid job of winning people over. His emphasis on balance, physicality, and situational aggression has reshaped how this team plays, especially on offense. The Cowboys aren't perfect, the record proves that, but they are more coherent, more intentional, more aligned than they've been in recent seasons. That's what legends like Emmitt Smith are noticing. That said, optimism is fragile in the NFL. Smith's faith comes with conditions. If Schottenheimer and the front office fail to fix the defense this offseason, that optimism could fade quickly. Talent evaluation, scheme adjustments, and accountability on that side of the ball will determine whether this belief turns into results. The foundation may be forming, but the structure isn't complete. Hearing Emmitt Smith publicly express faith in the Cowboys' future matters because he represents the standard. He knows what championship football looks like. He knows what accountability feels like, and he knows when a team is drifting versus building. For him to say the Cowboys are headed in the right direction, even in a season with more losses than wins, tells us something important is happening behind the scenes. This wasn't a pretty win, but it was an important one. The Cowboys showed fight. They showed adaptability, and they showed that aggressive decision-making can change outcomes. But they also showed that defensive issues remain unresolved, and that this roster still has glaring flaws that must be addressed heading into next season. Now, I want to hear from you. Did you like Schottenheimer's aggressive approach? Are you concerned about the defense even after a win? And what lessons should the Cowboys carry into the final week and the offseason? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is your space to talk Cowboys football. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Dallas Cowboys news, reactions, and analysis. Wins matter, but learning from them matters even more.